Hello, Scorpio. I'm Jen with Timeline Tarot. Hope you're doing well today. Let's take a look now at your tarot card for the week of November 30th, 2025. I've set the intention of this reading to be for Sun, Moon, Rising, as well as Venus. So if you have Scorpio in any of those placements, there is a little message in this reading for you today. Also, keep in mind, this is a collective general reading. It is not individualized nor personalized to you. Messages may come through today that do not fully resonate. And if that happens, don't get upset. It just means that one message is meant for someone else watching. So take what fits, how it fits, leave what doesn't. Be sure to check out your other placements. Also keep in mind, I'm a Gemini. Mercury retrograde is still affecting me. We are in post shadow, I believe until the 10th or 12th of December. So if I stumble or fumble my way through your reading, I do apologize ahead of time. Also, this is not what you don't see coming for the week ahead. Tarot card of the week reading is typically a question Source wants us to ponder and think about, go within, find the answer we need so we can move forward. And in that respect, we won't get stuck in situations, environments, connections, possibly even patterns that no longer serve our highest good. So with all of that said, let's begin. Tapping into the Scorpio collective now for Sun, Moon, Rising, as well as Venus placements. What is the tarot card of the week for Scorpio for the week of November 30th, 2025? Let's get one more shuffle here. Thank you. Tarot card of the week, King of Swords. What situation, environment, or even connection, possibly even a pattern in your life is calling you to have logic and clarity? At the bottom of the deck, you have Two of Cups. So it is in respect to partnerships. Okay, King of Swords. Why is the King of Swords the tarot card of the week here for Scorpio? What situation, environment, connection, pattern in your life is calling you to have logic and clarity? Why is this the tarot card of the week for Scorpio in respect to partnerships? And partnerships could be any partnership, okay? Professional, platonic, or romantic. One more shuffle here. Thank you. We have the 10 of Cups. We have the 5 of Swords. We have the Ace of Cups. And we have the 10 of Wands. At the bottom of the deck, we have 4 Pentacles, the Hierophant, and the 2 of Pentacles. Very stubborn energy there. Bottom of the deck, the Magician, the Knight of Cups, 5 of Cups, to the Ace of Swords. I feel like there's something that we are doing. I'm going to say we because I am a Scorpio moon. I feel like there's something we are doing when it comes to connections in our life. And we are not seeing that it's actually detrimental. So it's either like the way we're showing up in connections or the way we contribute to connections. What is this all about? Because we seem to be very stubborn here. 4 Pentacles, the Hierophant, the 2 of Pentacles. So there's a way here that we're showing up in connections. Tell me about the 10 of Cups. Or something that we're contributing to connections actually has the potential to like cause conflicts or arguments or discord or make the connection very burdensome. But it's something we are bringing to the table. All right, let's clarify that 10 of Cups. Clarify the 10 of Cups here. One more shuffle. Thank you. 10 of Cups, clarified by the 8 of Cups. Some idea or concept of what happiness is or what happiness should be in respect to partnerships. Oh, right behind that is the 2 of Swords, which typically shows an individual blindfolded, right? So we're not seeing this. Look at that. 8 of Cups, 9 of Cups, 7 of Pentacles. Bottom of the deck, Queen of Cups. There we are. Whether you're masculine or feminine. Queen of Cups, 5 of Pentacles, King of Wands. Right behind that is the King of Swords. The way we show up in connections. What our idea, I shouldn't say what our idea of happiness is. We keep doing something repetitively in connections with the idea of, if I continue to do, if I do A, B, or C, and I continue to do A, B, or C, then this connection will bring joy and happiness into my life. As opposed to 9 of Cups would be singular energy. All right, let me just get a little bit more on this. Explain to me the 5 of Swords. How does this end up becoming conflict in a connection? Oh, Thank you. I think what we are doing, and look, if it's not your message, don't be offended, just check another placement. But for the group of the Scorpio collective that I've tapped into, notice how in the Seven of Pentacles, like, I don't know what these are. It could be apples, peaches, irrelevant what they are, but all the fruit is in a basket. And I feel like when we enter connections, again, professional, platonic, or romantic, we put all of our happiness in that individual's basket. We only leave like one on the tree for us. It's supposed to be the other way around. We're supposed to enter connections and exist within connections in the Nine of Cups. Nine is very solitary. I'm happy. I'm good with or without you. You can come along with your one fruit and you can put it in my basket because my basket already has 9. And that would then create the 10 of Cups. I feel like we're doing it in the reverse. Does that make sense? I feel like we're putting all of our happiness eggs in that individual's basket, as opposed to leaving, keeping all of the happiness eggs, if you will, in our basket and saying, oh, okay, I already have 9 happiness eggs. I already have 9 cups. I don't know why the egg thing came to me, but just stick with me on this. I already have 9 happiness eggs and they're in my basket. I'm happy. I don't particularly need your happiness eggs. I'm good on my own. I'm good on my own. Oh, you have an Ace of Cups? You have an extra egg? Great. You can add it to my basket and then I'll have the 10 of Cups. Then I'll have 10 happiness eggs in my basket. So I feel like what we're doing is we put and I don't think we do this knowingly, we sort of surrender our happiness to the other individual that we are in a connection with. And I feel like it sort of needs to be the reverse. Not saying that they need to surrender their happiness, but they need to add to our happiness. Not that we find all of our happiness in that one person. So it's like saying you have a lot of things going wrong or a lot of things that you're upset with in your life. And then you land the job and you're like, oh my God, this is the job of my dreams. This job is going to make everything right in my life. No, it's not. No, it's unrealistic to think if I land that job at that company in that position with that pay, I'm going to be 10 of Cups. I'm going to be so happy because we're already entering the job with the preconceived notion that that position, that job, that boss is supposed to solve all of the problems in our life. And now we're going to be happy because we work for them and we make X amount of dollars. And it's like, you can't do that because the moment something goes wrong at work, where maybe you fall short on a project or you don't meet a deadline or you have a disagreement with a coworker, there ends up being like conflict and now work becomes heavy and burdensome and you no longer want to go to it. And you're like, oh my God, I have to find another job. They just effed up everything. But we relied on that job solving all of our problems and making us happy in every area of our life. So I feel like I'm speaking to a Scorpio, like, let's put this in romantic terms. I'm really not that happy with my life, where I live, what I do for a living, my pets, my plants, myself, right? I'm not happy. Oh, but I just met this person and I'm going to enter a relationship with them. And if I enter a relationship with them, they're going to solve all my problems and I'm going to be super duper happy. Well, that's not good because the moment that there's any conflict or a disagreement or discord in the connection with that person, suddenly now the connection is burdensome and we feel like that person is responsible for our happiness. Well, if they didn't do A, B, or C, I would be very happy. But now that they did A, B, or C, I'm completely miserable. So I feel like we put I don't know how else to say it. I hope someone's understanding this message. We're putting all of our happiness in the hands of someone else, or we are relying on another entity to create and maintain all of the happiness in our lives, as opposed to finding it from within and finding it with everything that we have in our life. Tell me about that Five of Swords, please. Because I feel like by doing that, we create conflict in relationships because there's so much weight being put on the other person that they have to like carry us emotionally. Tell me about that Five of Swords. Tell me about that Five of Swords. One more shuffle. Thank you. Five of Swords is clarified by Nine of Wands. We do this over and over again. This is a pattern. Again, more stubborn energy. Queen of Wands and the World card. I feel like we should have learned this by now. Five of Pentacles. That if we continue to rely on another entity and rely on them solely for our happiness, or so much of our happiness hinges on them, that it ends up becoming destructive to the connection, but particularly to ourselves. And it's like, we've done this already, right? The Queen of Wands is, she's battle ready, but she's battle ready because she's been battle tested. So with the world card, if you've seen my readings before, I say, the world card for me, because it's typically not in this deck, but typically shows the 4 fixed signs in the corner, right? Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. I look at it like the 4 years of high school here in the United States. Those are 4 fixed years that most of us attend high school. But once we finish high school, once we finish that world card, that completion, we've learned the lesson. We don't have to go back to high school and do 4 years all over again. We would just be repeating the same lesson. And I sort of feel like that's what we're doing here with the 9 of Wands, Queen of Wands, the world. But it's like, we know better. We've done this before and it hasn't worked out. It turns into conflict, stress, discord, grief, and a very burdensome connection that eventually collapses from the weight of all of that burden and all of that grief and all of that sadness. And then we feel abandoned, or we feel left out in the cold. So I feel like we are expecting one person or the other people in our life to be accountable for providing us with happiness and sustaining that happiness. And I think we have to look at it logically, like with great clarity. Like, we are the only ones at the end of the day that can create that happiness for ourselves, that can sustain it and maintain it. And happiness should reside within us. We should be entering connections already fulfilled, already in the 9 of Cups. And if someone comes along and they can offer us the Ace of Cups, that takes us to the 10, great. And if they can't, we're still good on our own. I mean, I think over the course of the last year, this is a lesson that has been learned over and over again for the Scorpio collective. Like, we shouldn't repeat this lesson in the new year that is coming. Tell me about the Ace of Cups, because this would be the other individual's cup. Tell me about the Ace of Cups. One more shuffle here. Thank you. The Ace of Cups, Temperance, 7 of Swords, and the 5 of Cups. That's exactly what's happening here. We are expecting an individual in our life who's only offering us an Ace of Cups, which is 1 cup. It's an ace, 1 cup. We are expecting that to balance out all of our happiness, to provide us with all of our happiness. And when they can't, because it's virtually impossible for one person to carry the weight of creating and sustaining and maintaining all of the happiness in a relationship, when it doesn't happen, we look at that person like they have betrayed us. But they haven't really betrayed us. We've betrayed ourselves, because we entered the connection thinking being with that person or having that job or having that friendship or being in that romantic partnership was going to solve all of our problems and make us happy. We are supposed to exist in a state of happiness with or without that individual, whether we have a good day with them or a bad day with them. Happiness is found within. We sabotage the connection as soon as that cup is offered to us by automatically assuming this is going to solve all of our problems. So I'll use myself as an example, not to make it about me, but to kind of give you like a real world example. Very early on in the relationship, when I was going through a divorce and his separation and everything was very chaotic, I hinged all of my happiness on him because I was going through a difficult time. I kind of failed to realize he was going through a difficult time as well. And so when I would, get that notification on the phone that there was a text message from him or he was calling, I would light up like a Christmas tree. I was 5 years old. Sorry if you don't celebrate Christmas. Again, I'm just giving you an example. Suddenly it felt like I was a 5-year-old kid waking up super duper early on Christmas morning and running to the Christmas tree to see what Santa brought me. But in the moments that there was no text message, there was no notification, there was no phone call, I became depressed again. I unfairly and unknowingly put all of my happiness eggs in his basket. He was responsible for creating it, sustaining it, maintaining it. And when the relationship would collapse or become burdensome, then I left it all on him to rebuild it, because it was like, well, I didn't break it, you broke it. You broke it because you didn't text me enough, or you didn't call me, or you didn't stop by when you said you were going to stop by. So there's something here to understand that we should enter and exist within connections, again, professional, platonic, or romantic, already in the state of the Nine of Cups. So whether this person's Ace of Cups is offered or not, whether they end up taking it away and we get fired, or they end the friendship with us, or they end the connection with us, our whole world does not shatter. Sure, we'll be upset and we'll grieve the loss and we'll have to rebuild. But our basket of happiness is still in our hands. We still have other things, other outlets of happiness. I think it becomes detrimental to the Scorpio collective when all of we surrender unknowingly all of our happiness to someone else. I think we need to find happiness within. It's almost like we sabotage the connections right from the beginning by assuming being with that person or being in that job or having that friend or being part of that friend group will create all the happiness that we need. And it's like, no, we need to be happy independent of that job or that connection or friendship, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm not going to clarify the Ten of Wands. I feel like I'm just going to get the same message there. But I see that this is something stubborn within us. So how do we break this? Bottom of the deck, Two of Wands. So we're at a Y point. End of the year is coming. We can continue to do this. It will have the same result. Doing the same thing over and over again. Very definition of insanity. So we can continue to show up this way if this is an existing partnership or new partnerships that are entering our life, or maybe current ones that we already have in our lives. If we continue to do that, I feel like 2026 will be an emotional repeat of 2025. So this week, there's an opportunity here to recognize that and say, yeah, happiness is found within. And if someone can add to that, great, but someone shouldn't be solely responsible for that. I'm the only one who could be responsible for my happiness. So how do we break out of this other than acknowledging it, right? Because this would be calling it out to ourselves and saying, yeah, wow, I've got great clarity now. That person or, whatever situation, environment, connection should add to my happiness, not be solely responsible. Why am I surrendering my happiness to one entity? So how do we break out of this other than recognizing it? Your opposite sign is Taurus. So this might be a little stubborn energy in the Scorpio collective, like maybe not wanting to recognize it or not wanting to see it. Or even if you do have the clarity and say, yeah, let's say you're watching this reading and you're like, oh my God, that message is right. That's what I do. There's one thing to acknowledge it. There's another thing to try to break the cycle. So how do we break the cycle? Can you explain that to me? Can we get advice on how to break the Four of Pentacles, the Hierophant, and the Two of Pentacles here? One more shuffle here. Thank you. Six of Wands, the Devil, and the Magician. So we can do this. Like, we have all the tools within our arsenal to be triumphant and victorious over this toxicity here within the Scorpio collective. But how do we do it? So I like that source is saying, oh, Scorpio, you can do this. You have experienced this lesson so many times that you know this like the back of your hand. You're fully capable of getting clarity on it, acknowledging it, and you're logical enough to be triumphant over this. So what are some practices here that Scorpio can do to create happiness for themselves, so they're not putting the onus or the burden or the responsibility of that happiness all in the hands of another individual? What are things that they can do? What are things that they can do, that we can do? Wheel of Fortune came out in the reverse. Do not repeat the same cycle. Do not repeat the same thing over and over again. This is our moment to stop the cycle. Wheel of Fortune is Jupiter energy. This is Sagittarius. We're now in Sagittarius season. So we can learn this lesson within the next 3 or 4 weeks that we have left of Sagittarius season. And again, the feeling is like, don't carry this into Capricorn season. Don't carry this into 2026. So stopping the cycle, like literally today being like, no more. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to look for ways to find happiness within myself, by myself, whether I'm partnered or single, irrelevant to the reading. That person, and again, whether it's professional, platonic, romantic, all of them, could be all the connections in our life, they're irrelevant to the reading, because the reading is about us and saying, I'm not going to continue to show up this way. I'm not going to continue to put all my happiness in that person's basket. I need to create the 9 happiness eggs for myself So stopping the cycle immediately, King of Swords, literally seeing it immediately and saying, oh my God, this is what I was doing. Now, it doesn't mean that you are 100% to blame or that you have to take 100% of responsibility for every connection in your life that, went wrong or ended or where there was chaos. But we do need to take 100% of the responsibility if that's what we were doing. Again, it's not 100% responsibility for the connections ending. It's for how we showed up and saying, yeah, I contributed to the chaos, the conflict, the discord because I showed up that way. This is just having an honest conversation with yourself. Judgment and making the judgment call within and saying, yep, that's what I was doing. I was expecting one person or one entity to be the sole source of my happiness. Bottom of the deck, the Emperor. You could be the Empress. I don't read body parts. This was a big lesson here for us to learn. And provided we see it with great logic and great clarity, and we are honest, King of Swords is authentic. We're honest with ourselves and say, yeah, whether it's in respect to my current connections or future connections that will come into my life, if I continue to show up that way and expect one person to be my sole source of happiness, yeah, there's too much weight, too much burden then being put on that person or being put on the connection. And either the connection fails or we feel betrayed by the person. Again, not saying that the person was perfect or did nothing wrong. I'm sure the person had other issues. I'm sure if they're still in your life, they have current issues. This is about us and how we show up. It's immediately acknowledging that you need to find happiness within, find other outlets of happiness, nurture yourself in other ways, become emotionally content and whole on our own. Someone shouldn't bring us the 10 of Cups. Someone should just bring us the Ace of Cups. 9 of the Cups should be ours already. Okay, I'm going to shut this down here. That is the tarot card of the week for Scorpio. I hope that message helped you. I think it gave me a little insight on how I show up, particularly in my platonic connections. So I'm going to digest this, probably going to watch this a few times after I upload it. I think it was a powerful message for me. I hope that it helps you as well. Let's break this cycle, the way we show up and the way we feel that other people in our lives should be solely dependent for or solely responsible for our happiness. I think we need to find new creative ways to create happiness for ourselves. We are responsible for creating and maintaining our own happiness. Someone could come along and add to it. We certainly shouldn't invite people into our lives who detract from it, but we shouldn't exist in connections where that other entity or entities are solely responsible for it. Okay, that is what I have for you. That is your tarot card for the week of November 30th, 2025. If you like that message, it resonates with you, you want to claim all or part of it, please be sure to click like, share, and subscribe. Hype the video if you can. I hope you had a wonderful season. I didn't do many readings during Scorpio season, or if I did, they were late. But anyway, so for all of you Scorpio suns, sun signs that had a birthday, obviously had a birthday in Scorpio season. If you're a Scorpio sun, I wish you a happy birthday. I hope Sagittarius is kind to you. Let's learn this lesson. Let's try to practice this over the course of the next 3 to 4 weeks so we don't repeat it in the new year. That's what I have for you. If you like that message, it resonated with you, you want to claim all or part of it, please be sure to click like, share, and subscribe. Hype the video if you can. And until I read for you again, I'm wishing you light, love, and peace.